Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. So an interesting development, apparently Oleksandr Usyk could be keen to step aside to allow Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. When asked about this situation, this is what he had to say. All four belts might end up in the hands of one person. It might be a once in a lifetime opportunity. We should all talk and communicate for that to happen, because it's a really big event. I still want to fight Anthony Joshua for the title. There are many factors for this fight to happen. My team and all the participants are all ready and interested to talk to all parties who are working on it, but there are still many people who wish to fight him as well, like Tyson Fury. So there we go, that is what Oleksandr Usyk has said about this situation. He still wants to fight Anthony Joshua, but he understands that Tyson Fury does also. And maybe he is looking at it from the perspective of thinking that this is a fight that can only happen once in a lifetime. I mean, it kind of is. Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury for the undisputed championship. He is the biggest stumbling block aside from a potential Deontay Wilder fight for Tyson Fury of making this fight happen, because obviously if Wilder has his way then Tyson Fury won't be able to. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that AJ will fight Fury. It is just a case of whether that WBO belt is on the line. Usyk can change that if he wants to. Now, obviously, Anthony Joshua is in the situation where he can vacate the WBO and fight Tyson Fury for the WBC, or he can hold on to the WBO, then potentially fight Tyson Fury later on in the year. If you look at it from that perspective, then Anthony Joshua is essentially losing a belt so he can try and gain a belt. So really, yes, he's gained the WBC belt if he were to beat Tyson Fury, which is no given, but if he were to do that, then he would gain a belt, but he's lost a belt, so it's not for undisputed. That is what Anthony Joshua wants. He's said it many times. So I think that losing a belt to go and fight Tyson Fury probably isn't going to be an option. I think that Eddie Hearn has explained that on multiple occasions. They will not be dictated to, but I think that's just to give them leeway with the governing bodies to bluff them or call their bluff essentially. That is what it is all about. I don't think Anthony Joshua would want to lose a belt without fighting for it in the ring. And that is obviously the reason behind his reluctance to vacate and go and fight Tyson Fury, because otherwise he would have done it. He would have just said, nope, I'll drop the WBO, I want to fight Tyson Fury. It's not as simple as that. AJ is chasing the belts, not necessarily the fighter who holds on to them. He wants to be undisputed. That is the main thing. Now, what is interesting is Eddie Hearn did recently say that what if they drop all of the belts in an interview? Now, what he also said is because there are so many sanctioning fees, and maybe you have to pay 7 figures to a mandatory to pay him off. That's obviously Oleksandr Usyk he's talking about. So maybe there is a 7-figure deal in place for Usyk to step aside. That could be very interesting. Maybe that's why Usyk has had this change of heart to step aside for the big fight to happen, which is okay for Usyk because he gets a 7-figure deal for fighting no one. So that is a good thing for Usyk. He's in a good situation because he is the one thing that is standing in the way of undisputed, so he could get paid off and have another fight in the interim. Good position to be in for Usyk. Now, if he does step aside, what does that mean for Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury? Does it mean that it's just done? Is the fight on straight away after that happens? Not necessarily. There are still stumbling blocks, obviously. With a fight like this, it's so big that there are going to be things standing in the way. Potentially Deontay Wilder, that is still a situation that needs to be resolved. There is still a broadcasting deal that needs to be struck between two parties. Obviously, Anthony Joshua is a Sky Sports fighter and fights on DAZN on a fight-by-fight deal, so that's maybe not so difficult. But then Tyson Fury is on ESPN and BT Sports. So there would be a conflict of interest if they could not strike a deal. So the best way to do it is a dual platform event. That is the only fair way they can do it. It's been done before, it can be done again for this event. I don't see any reason as to why it can't. And what we do know is that there have been positive talks between Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum, the promoters of Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. That is a very positive thing. And apparently they are drawing up contracts for this fight. So the first projected date for this fight, or projected month in 2021, is May. The second one is in November, December. The problem is obviously if they are going to have 2 fights in 2021, what's Usyk going to do for the second time around when Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury fight in the rematch? Because obviously he's stepping aside maybe for one fight, but what about the second one? That is also something they have to get beyond for this fight to happen. maybe the WBO belt is vacated after the first fight. I mean, Anthony Joshua does not want to do that, but he's still in a fight with all of the belts on the line. And then perhaps he has his opportunity to fight in an undisputed world title fight. That is what he has been working towards his entire career. The reason behind him gathering all of the belts. That is the reason behind me believing he's not going to vacate. I don't think that Anthony Joshua will willingly let a title go without fighting for it first. I know that Eddie Hearn is saying continuously that what if he vacates? He might vacate, or do the WBO want to be a part of this fight or not? Yeah, he's saying that, I think, just as a bluff. I don't think that he really wants Anthony Joshua to vacate because he wants it to be for undisputed. I don't think we can expect that to happen. I think we can expect to see Oleksandr Usyk take some step-aside money and wait for his chance. As long as Usyk is looked after, that is the main thing also, because we don't want to see him just pushed to the side so this fight can happen. He must have his opportunity. He is mandatory at some point. And if he does step aside, then he does need to be paid off for that. Then he can go and fight someone else. As long as Usyk is looked after in this as well, then that is also just as important, because he is a fighter getting in there, putting his life on the line, just like everyone else in boxing. So he does need to be looked after with this situation. Now, Anthony Joshua versus Oleksandr Usyk is a great fight. I would love to see it. I think that it's brilliant, and I think that the Tyson Fury fight is only eclipsing that just because of the magnitude of the event. If there was no Tyson Fury fight to be made, then this would be an epic fight. It still is. If Anthony Joshua cannot get Tyson Fury in May, then it will definitely be Oleksandr Usyk. Now, Usyk did say he's still very interested in fighting Anthony Joshua, so it's not something that he's willing to wait for or he wants to wait for. He does want to fight him, but I think that when he is offered that sum of money, then I guess a handsome offer like that is very difficult to turn down. But I'm not saying I wouldn't like to see Anthony Joshua versus Oleksandr Usyk, because I would. I think that that is a brilliant fight. But having said that, if they can make Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury, then I think that they need to do it, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make this kind of fight. If they have the chance to do it, then they need to, and that is what they are trying to seize by making it happen next. So guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Apparently Oleksandr Usyk is showing some signs that he will step aside to allow Anthony Joshua to fight Tyson Fury and keep a hold of his WBO world title. I know some of you would be interested in seeing Anthony Joshua versus Usyk, then Tyson Fury later on in the year. That is completely understandable. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. So if that is the kind of thing you want to happen, then that's fair enough. But there is a situation where I think that they've been here before, so they want to make sure the fight happens next. They don't want to miss their opportunity. Particularly Eddie Hearn is thinking like that, I think, because the problem is that they have been here before with Deontay Wilder, and the fight didn't come off. So I think that now they have the opportunity, now it has been set in motion. I think it will be Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury next, but still, that Usyk fight will be there for AJ, and it is a great fight for him, a very interesting one, the former undisputed cruiserweight champion. A mega event. Not as big as Tyson Fury, but still, a brilliant fight. Guys, anyway, make sure you leave your thoughts on this in the comments below, leave a thumbs up, and a subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.